right?
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna get it started. You guys ready?
Yes,
All right,
sir.
everything's ready. Boom, boom, boom.
Let's go.
All right. Yo, welcome to the Reps That Count podcast. We are your hosts. I am Valence.
And I'm Adam. And the reps that count are the moments in life that are really matter and that we should be paying attention to. It is in fitness, the last couple reps that make the most progress, and so goes forth in life. So it's about mental health, it's about fitness, it's about relationships. And today we have a special guest.
We do.
Yes.
All right. So we don't have a topic, but go ahead. Adam, if you want to introduce. Actually, wait. Introduce the special guest, then we'll do the question.
Yes. So we have Carlos Lindo with us today, and he is the Senior Vice President of Legal Affairs for Lucid, which is a mental health company.
Yep, it's a behavioral health company.
Behavioral health company.
We do behavioral health and substance use.
Okay, cool. Now we move on to the question.
No, actually, if you want to just kind of give us a broad overview of, what you do at Lucid, and then we'll go to the question.
That's a loaded question. So I'm in charge of our legal and compliance, but really what we do at Lucid is our whole goal is to connect people into care. And so I think 1 in every 3 people are diagnosed with a mental health disorder. And I think about 53% of those actually seek treatment. And so what our goal is to try to get as many people into care as possible, just because people need to get the treatment.
Oh, I love that.
Love that.
That's important right there.
Yeah.
All right. So before we dive deeper into all the ins and outs and how your company help other people, we have a tradition here on the podcast where we ask each other this important question. I think it's an important question. So question of the day is, what is something you've done in the past week that you're proud of? Like, either one of you guys could start.
I'll start.
Yeah, you start, Adam. You start. Let me think about this.
So it's been this ongoing thing that's escalating now, where I've been showing up more, and we've talked about how December was a little bit rough for me, and then January picked up a little bit, and now in February, I am getting to this better version of myself, or a version of myself that I used to recognize that I had lost for a little bit, where I just showed up no matter what and just showed up strong.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm doing that for the people around me, rekindling relationships, talking to my family more, times where, let's say December me would have just kind of avoided some stuff really confronting it. So I would say just maybe being a little more intentional and showing up for people a little bit stronger. That's what I was able to do this week.
Okay. I love that. You ready, Carlos, or you want me to go next?
You go
All
next.
right, cool. See, because his is like really like personal. Mine's is like kind of like more lighthearted, I guess. What I did this week that I'm proud of was I made hot cocoa for my son.
Nice.
Yeah, that was
What kind of hot cocoa?
just like with like real chocolate and like
You
some cinnamon
melted
stick.
chocolate?
Yeah, like it's not like too serious, but
Like cocoa powder? Or like
No, chocolate.
That's
like,
serious. Bro.
Yeah,
Melted
yeah.
chocolate.
Yeah, like I use almond milk, vanilla almond milk. So put that in the pot and like chop up the chocolate bars and put some cinnamon sticks and yeah.
Did you like it?
Yeah, he loved it.
That's
He loved it because I realized at some point last year I started making hot cocoa, but I never made it for him because he's only with me like 50% of the times or whatever. But I was like, I need to make him some hot cocoa.
That's
And
awesome.
I like
yeah.
that.
That was it.
That could be like a little tradition.
Yeah. I'm hoping to maybe do it like once a month or something where we just like sit on the couch and just eat hot cocoa and watch Paw Patrol.
Love that.
That's it.
Love that.
That's it, bro. Keep it cool and simple. So yeah, that's what I'm proud of for this week.
I heard this, I don't know, a couple years ago, and it stuck with me. And what's the easiest way to build a legacy? It's through traditions. So the traditions that you show your kids when they're young, hopefully they pass it on to their kids.
Mhm.
It could be simple as like a pizza night or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah,
But
just
yeah.
spending time really
Yeah,
is what I'm really
yeah.
after.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah,
It's
man.
good.
All right, special guest, it's your turn.
Man, the pressure's on because I can get the serious, I can get the fun.
Oh, that means you did a lot of things this week that you're proud of.
I'm pretty proud this week, guys.
Okay,
I'm pretty
good.
No. Well, I would say this past week, what I'm proud of is having hard conversations.
Good.
Okay.
Whether it's at work, whether it's with family. I think examples of both, where having the hard conversation isn't always the fun thing to do. Like you have to have that kind of hurdle to get over. But on the back end, after you have that hard conversation, there's almost a weight that's lifted off, and you can kind of self-reflect and do a post-mortem of, what could I have done better? And then how can you improve after that?
Yeah, that's awesome.
You
I
actually
love that.
always feel better.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Always.
So that's why having multiple hard conversations with family and then with work colleagues.
Okay, awesome.
Mhm.
All right. So yeah, I don't know, like where do we move from here? Because I mean, I feel like this is gonna be like a very deep, like episode. So I guess let's just get right into like the most important stuff. Like as far as helping individuals, like how do you guys go about like doing that? Like what's the outreach? Do you like go out to get people, or do they come to you guys? Like how do you find the individuals that need help?
Yeah. It's a good question. And first, let me start with the disclaimer. The views that I represent or say here are the views of my own and not of the company. That's my legal and compliance disclaimer that I give. But really, I think we are associated with the insurance companies. And so there are so many people that don't know how many resources that are out there for people to take advantage of. So if you have an insurance product, then the chances are that with new laws that have come out, that you have a behavioral health benefit. So you can go and avail yourself to behavioral health services. There's providers out there. There's large telehealth providers you can go to. There's virtual providers you can go to ever since COVID, that you can actually go and get the resources. And so what we do is try to highlight those areas where you can go find those resources, but then we can actually connect you into care. So say you want to go and you have some sort of insurance, and you can call the number on the back of your card and say, hey, I want to get some behavioral health care. They'll end up getting connected with our company, and then we would end up scheduling you with the provider within 5 days.
Okay.
Now, the industry average is about 45 days, the time if you just call a provider, because there's no availability. So the whole focus is trying to get people into care faster.
Wow.
Wow.
And that's a very high level view of it.
I didn't know it was 45 days.
Yeah.
That's a long time though. Like if somebody's really going through something, like if they really need that help, like to have to wait 45 days, it's
a problem.
Yeah.
Right. If you're going through a crisis and you need to talk to someone, that's immediate.
Mm-hmm.
That is right now. You need to get the help. Otherwise, you could deteriorate. Something else could happen. So it's a very quick turnaround time.
Wow.
How are you guys able to do it so much faster?
So we have been around since the early 90s, and we've grown and progressed, but we use technology that basically hooks up with people in our provider network. So we have a network of providers that we use, partners that we use. And so they're on our technology platform, and it's just a connection through that platform.
Okay, cool. So essentially you just have a good connection you build a relationship with just a whole bunch of people where you kind of get to skip the line. And like, is it more, I don't know if this term is going to be the proper term, but like red tape kind of thing, like with the insurance company that you guys have to go around?
It's not even red tape. It's just you see this in the medical community too. There's a shortage of providers just all around. I think we have a shortage of medical doctors I think I was talking to someone where it took them maybe 90 days, if not maybe more than that, to get scheduled for an MRI. Mm-hmm. Just it takes so long to get into care. It's because there's a shortage of people. And so the way that we do isn't necessarily cutting red tape. It's just building efficient systems to get the patient into healthcare faster.
I get it. Sometimes you're just waiting on a form that's sitting on someone's desk.
Yeah.
Got lost because no one faxes anymore. And so a lot of this time turnaround is just inefficiency.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, cool. So, All right, so they would individual would call the number on the back of their
Mhm.
card,
Yep.
right? And then the insurance company would get in contact with you,
Right.
with your company, and then you'll set that up. But is it depending on what the individual needs? Like you figure out,
Absolutely.
okay.
So the individual could come for a bunch of different diagnoses. There could be eating disorders, there could be substance use, there could be depression or anxiety. And based on whatever the diagnosis is, we would connect with a care in the community of a provider who treats that. I think the biggest thing, there's this big disconnect in the behavioral health world between people who need the care and then providers who are actually providing that care. So if you're a licensed social worker, which I'm not. I'm not clinical. Again, I am legal
Mhm.
compliance. But if you are a social worker or a psychiatrist, you could treat many different patients. But
Mhm.
there are going to be people who have specialties. They're going to specialize in children and adolescents. They're going to specialize in eating disorders. And so it's making sure that we identify those specialties and meet them to what the member or the patient needs, and so that they can be getting the best care for what they need at that time.
No, man, that's very important.
Yeah.
I love that. So I know, like Adam, like we've had discussions before about like the growth of social media and like the whole 2020 pandemic and just how like we feel that it changes has affected
Mhm.
individuals like mentally, right? And we speak about mental health here like often. um how long have you been with the company?
It's almost 8 years.
8 years. Okay, so you've been there for quite a
Mhm.
while. um like, would you be able to like say like, do you feel like there has been an increase in people reaching out to the company for help?
Yes. So I think that one of the biggest things is stigma. And I think a while ago, behavioral health had this stigma, and then COVID happened. And then everything broke loose. And so now I think as a society, we've made a lot of traction on reducing the stigma that's associated with going and getting treatment, which is amazing. Um, but I definitely think that because of COVID and because of all the circumstances of the world that's happened, like people need care. I say this to my friends all the time. Like, you go to a doctor every year, or if you don't, you probably should.
Mhm.
Just like you go for your medical health, you probably should be going and getting a mental health checkup, doing a mental health assessment, just to kind of get a baseline of where you are and seeing what you need. I just think that we don't prioritize our behavioral health or our mental health as much as we should or as we do on the physical health side.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's two stigmas. There's the I'm a professional. Um, I shouldn't be seeking out help kind of thing. I'm like, I'm too good to seek out help. I'm too smart to seek out
Mhm.
help. And then there's the I can't afford it. So there's like the
Mm.
two ends of the spectrum. And for some of these people, it is like they're every paycheck, they're just getting by. So to
Mhm.
set aside money for that, or they're trying to support their family and they're putting their mental health second, which, that can have its effect. Is there any resources for people that
Mhm.
don't have insurance? Is there any resources for people that, let's say, are on Medicare or Medicaid and stuff like that?
Yep. So Medicare and Medicaid do offer behavioral health services. So when you go through those programs, whether it be Medicaid, whether you're on Medicare, you can access through new laws that have just passed. I think in 2009 there was a mental health parity law that passed, and then it has slowly been revamped. And actually, I'm going to bore you guys with the legal side. There's a new law that was passed, or it's proposed, that should be coming final within the next 6 months. Um, but it then addresses mental health parity in terms of Medicare, which means that it's going to be essentially, the law says, in so many words, you have to treat behavioral health no more stringent than what you do on the medical side.
Mm.
So it's just a raising of the level of getting that behavioral health care. So from a Medicare standpoint, from a Medicaid standpoint, even from if you don't have insurance, there's employee assistance programs that a lot of employers have that you can use. A lot of times there's different life insurance companies who have benefits that you can go and access for mental health care. So there's a variety of ways to access it, um, through different health insurance for those who have it and for those who don't.
Okay. So like if somebody has life insurance, some of the policies has something that that ties into healthcare or mental health care. Okay.
Right.
Now, Adam, like since you're the coach and the physical guy, like how do you feel like the like mental health, like individuals being able to get help with mental health and fitness, like how does that, like how do you feel like those two things relate? Like do you feel like they relate at all?
Yeah, I think uh, a lot of the physical challenges that people are going through are because the mental health side isn't in line, and they're wondering why they're starting and they're stopping, and they're wondering why they can't get out of bed, and they have no motivation, and they're blaming themselves for this, but there might be something else going on. I have conversations with these people all the time, and I've told people before, like, hey man, like maybe you should talk to someone, because they're confiding in me with stuff that it's probably just a little bit above my scope of what I can do or what I can help out with. And I try to help as much as I can, but I'm very careful with what I say and what I can help out with. And I try to share my story with people where it's, I did see a therapist for a while, and I'm looking for a new therapist now. And I think it's something that everyone should do. Um, but I think if you are paying for a gym membership, a $200 a month gym membership, you should probably be allocating some sort of money towards mental everyone.
Yeah, I've also like made that argument because again like I'm in the weightlifting community, right? So I talk about mental health all the time, and people are like, I can't afford it. I'm like you could afford protein, right? Like if you could afford protein powder,
that's expensive.
Yeah, like protein is not cheap at all, right? You could afford weightlifting belts, you could afford weightlifting shoes, pre-workout, like all of these supplements that like help you with your physical body. But like if you take a month off of that, you could probably get a session or two in with a professional and just talk about something, get something off your chest, because just having the conversation could just be so beneficial. And now like we're talking with you, like if we could find a way to help our audience just get it a little bit cheaper and just like I don't know how much it costs, but if it could cost less than a tub of protein, like I'm sure like that would be amazing for people listening and just people in general.
And I think people think that it has to be a weekly thing, or it has to be a couple times a week, where you can go bi-weekly. If your budget only allows once a month, that's something you can do as well. And I think therapists are here to help and set up a plan accordingly. Like, hey, this is what you're going to do for the next month, and then we're going to check in, and that's very affordable. Very affordable.
A lot of therapists allow you to text them.
Yep. Oh, text therapy is starting to get huge.
Yeah, like my therapist is like, yo, if anything, just text me. I've never texted her, but because I see her like regular, I see her like every 2 weeks or so. But like I've never text, but like that would be beneficial. Just getting that first connection, getting the number right, and so now instead of talking to Adam in the gym about something, you could just send a quick text and have a check-in, buddy, I guess.
But Adam, you must see so much being in the fitness side, because I do feel like there's so many people that come to the gym to, get healthier. But you probably hear so much more than just getting healthy, because you're going over goals. You're trying to start from like, tell me what's going on. Like I would think that on the fitness side, there's such a large aspect of mental health.
I meet a lot of people at their lowest point. Like when you decide to change, like make real drastic change, like for your health, and you've neglected it for a long time, you're at a low point. So yeah, man, it's beautiful to see people transform and change and help themselves. And I think there is a place for that, where we do have to help ourselves. And anyone who's had a therapist, they're not really helping you all that much. They're making you help yourself.
Yeah, that's exactly how it goes. They just like listen to you, find solutions.
Yeah. So
asking all them questions.
Somebody's been on the internet for a very long time.
And then there's that one question you're like, I see what you
yeah.
did there.
You got me. You got me. No, you just like brought up a great point. Like you get to see people at rock bottom.
Mhm.
And again, we spoke about like how it was taboo for a long time for people to speak about mental health. So like you are like the first step for a lot of individuals. So as a coach, not just you, just I feel like as just coaches in general and everybody in the fitness industry, like I don't know if we realize how important it is for that first step to be the right step and how important it is to set up the individual to continue to make those steps and be like a ear. Right. So if you're running a gym and somebody is like, all right, I'm going to start today, and they walk in and they don't feel welcome, like that could be detrimental to not only their physical health, but their mental health also. Like I never even thought about that.
Yeah. Well, and it's really cool in the fitness industry because I think with behavioral health, it is hard to see true outcomes. I think so. Say you're diagnosed with depression, you can go in for depression, but then it's hard to diagnose it like you would with a broken wrist. Broken wrist, you're going to go to a doctor. They're going to do an x-ray. They're going to say, oh, that's broken. We're going to set it. We're going to put a rod in it. We're going to do something. And then 6 weeks later, you're going to see the x-ray and it's going to improve. Like it's very definitive. Behavioral health as an industry, I don't know that we've gotten to the place where we can see those outcomes. But on the fitness side of things, you see outcomes, and it's almost a direct correlation to their persona when they walk in. Like I'm not a coach, but I would assume, like I've seen people who've made huge transformations, and where the first day they walked in, their shoulders were slumped, but then after 4 or 5 months, 6 months of going hard and training, like you can see an air of confidence about them that's just different. Like to me, that's a more of a measurable outcome.
That's why I think the mind is more important to train than the body when it comes to the gym, because I've seen it in both directions. I've seen it where someone uses this to abuse themselves, where that's a problem. I've been there. I've done that. That's a problem. And when someone's using this to do good and to get better, and they're more disciplined now, and they're not shaving reps, and they're not, you can still be here and still cheat life and still cut corners and still do all that and just take your bad habits from out there and bring them in here. That's toxic gym culture is huge. We don't have it here, but there was a time where it was here. So although this is a good stepping stone for some people, if treated the wrong way, this could also be an ugly side of it for some people, where we've spoken about this with me, where this became my only identity. And then when I lost that, I didn't have anything else. So there's still, although it's great for 90% of the people, it still has to be proceeded with caution.
Oh, nice. Damn. There's so many layers.
It's
like there's so many. Yeah, we're just like, all right. So let's try to get, before like this episode get too long and people get bored. Let's, I guess, get some resources to the listeners. Like, what is the best way? Like, would they be able to go to like your website and just communicate with you guys directly, or do they have to go through insurance? Or again, if they don't have insurance and they're just trying to get in contact with somebody for help, like, is Lucid like a good first call, or is it like the last resort?
So we work with a lot of insurance companies. So if the kind of the two tracks that we have is on the insurance side and then on the employee assistance side. So if you have an employer who has an employee assistance program, that's the first step. Figure out if your employer group has an employee assistance program, because oftentimes they'll provide you where your employee covers 3, 6 sessions, 9 sessions with the therapist, and then you can get shifted off from there. On the insurance side, always start with the number on the back of your card. Your health plan will be able to direct you. They'll be able to tell you how much it is. They're not required to tell you, what the cost will be. So go there. For those who don't have those insurance products, you can still reach out, and I'll have to get the website, but for Medicaid, there's a website you can go to check the health side of the benefits. But there are so many different avenues where you can get the help you need. And even if you go just Google different therapists in your areas or different telehealth, there's a lot of different avenues you can do with, especially after COVID, with all these new companies popping up. So we are not direct to consumer. We work with our health insurance and employers group, but we allow them to make sure that their employees are being taken care of.
Okay, cool. And you guys fast track it.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
Yeah. As of last year, we switched insurances, and our copay is $50 for mental health, which I think is good. But it wasn't like that before. So I think going to the marketplace, and it I think, did enrollment pass, or we're at the end of enrollment?
Yeah, October. Enrollment's normally in October.
So it passed a long time ago.
Yeah.
But look for an insurance that does have some mental health benefits. Like, I think it's important.
And most of them now are required to. So when you're going on the exchange, when you're going on the marketplace, they're required to cover, certain mental health benefits. So you can go get your short-term counseling, which is a huge step forward.
Okay. So
what's that? What's short-term counseling?
Short-term counseling. So there is short-term counseling, which is going to be more acute, fast, similar to coaching type style, not very deep. And then you have your actual therapy counseling, which is going to be a little bit deeper. There'll be a diagnosis that comes from it. So it's just kind of a different level of counseling.
Okay. Now, so you just used the word diagnosis. I know, like, a lot of times that, like, if that comes with like medication, right? Like, are health insurance providers also, like, is there like some benefits that's associated with that, or is it just like, all right, well, we got you the mental health part, like, if you gotta get some medication, that's all you go figure that part out, or is that part of the law at all?
Most health plans are going to be covering medication for what's medically necessary. So it's all, I don't think it's one and the same, but it's really looking at the whole person as a holistic view on what they need to get treatment and get better. So I think medication is a piece of that.
Okay, awesome. I just got to throw it out there, man. Make sure, like, it's really what we're trying to make sure you guys understand is, like, it's there. A lot of people don't know it's there. Like, I didn't know it was there. Like, I feel like I may have seen it at the bottom of my open enrollment pamphlet, something. It's not advertised like, mental, like dental, and like it's just somewhere in the corner. But like, knowing that, like, I'm gonna see if I could get mine to be a little bit cheaper, because I'm paying like $100 like every session, which, I mean, I'll pay for it because I feel like it's worth it for me. But like Adam touched on earlier, there's a lot of individuals who are just like barely getting by, and they're just one accident away from being homeless. So, like, if we could get the price reduced, like, it would be very beneficial.
That was a good point, right? Because if you can pick a plan that's maybe $50 a month more expensive, but it's $50 a visit instead of $100 a visit, you saved money.
Yeah.
Right. So I think shopping around for, looking at, people get so scared of the marketplace. Like, learn how to read this shit and like really tear it apart. Like, what do I need? Like, these plans are so different in so many different ways. What do I need? Or you can go to someone, you don't pay them. The insurance companies actually ends up paying them, and they'll figure all that stuff out for you.
Yeah. Just put that at the top of your list. Like, hey, I need a plan that's going to allow me to go see a therapist regularly, and just find that. Because, yeah, again, like you said, there's so many different things that's covered,
And talk to your provider. Ask them, do you take insurance? I mean, a lot of providers, there are providers who do take insurance. There's providers who don't. There's providers who do employee assistance programs and don't. But if you find one that you like, ask them, like, do you take insurance? Would you consider taking insurance?
Okay. All right. So there's some legwork that you could do also on your end, listener. Like, you could, if you don't have a therapist, and I guess if you have like some kind of assistance program, you could kind of look for therapists in your area and find one that takes your plan. And
right.
Okay.
I'm in a different spot. I was looking, and I didn't like anyone.
How do you know you don't like them if you never spoke to them? You judging them on like their LinkedIn picture,
profile. My therapist was so dope.
How you know you're not gonna find? You
I
don't
know.
get
I
somebody with
have
like
to
Jordans
figure
on
it
or
out.
something?
No.
How'd you find your therapist?
I looked at the provider list from the
Mm-hmm.
insurance, and then they have a list of everyone I can pick from. And I'm looking through, and there was like 2 people that I like, but like you said, it was like long. Like they're not taking anyone. So yeah, so it's like the people that my insurance actually will accept. It's either there's a super long wait, or
Or
I
you
just
just
don't
like,
like
like there's something about this LinkedIn picture I'm not happy
See
about.
that's a big issue, and that's where a company like mine likes to come in, is because I'm curious in your process when you went to the selection. It's like you go to this provider directory. It's a laundry list of people. You look through it, but what are you looking for? Like, are you looking for just based on location? Are you looking based off of what their specialty is? Are you looking um, based off of, I want someone with brown hair or that is Spanish speaking?
Mhm.
Or
it was location, it was specialty, and just this connection. And you can't get a connection from really reading something, but you kind of can. And like you're reading these profiles, everyone has a profile, and you're reading these profiles, and I'm like, I'm not gonna feel comfortable opening up to this person. And it's honest truth. Like it has to be someone that I would automatically feel comfortable.
You know what's weird? I was just thinking about this. So, like for me, when I found my therapist, I was like going through like depression and a divorce and everything. And I found like the first person who just had like time available, right? Actually, I just called the office and they were just like, all right, this person has this date available. And so it's a white lady, right? And I'm like, and I was just thinking about it the other day. I'm like, yo, I'm like going to like this white lady for therapy. I'm like, it would have probably been easier if I found like some cool black dude because like he will understand me. But then I thought about it. I was like, I'm happy I'm going to her because I have to really explain everything to her. I have to be detailed so she could understand me. And like me having to explain the things, like just it makes it like I digest it more. I have to break it down so much that I get to understand myself a little bit. So I feel like looking for somebody that's just like you I mean, it's easier to open up to them, but also doing the hard things like we just spoke about is beneficial. So maybe finding somebody that's not like you at all and you having to express to them and explain to them everything that you're going through could also be a benefit.
I will try it, but I know myself, and I'll mask. I'll automatically mask and not open up, or open up what I want them to know. Like that's I know myself.
But you
Like
do that anyway.
yeah.
You're gonna do that anyway. Remember we talked about this. You're only gonna give your therapist like a good 80% of yourself.
that's fair.
Yeah, like we all
Yeah.
hide something.
Well, but that's a good point, because I've seen so many people try to match people based off of demographic preference, based off of cultural preferences, or Spanish speaking, or any type of race, ethnicity. But I mean, in your view, was that a hesitation at all when you saw a white woman when you walked in the office, or was that just a
Nah, not at all. I like for like it was just comfortable. Like I felt comfortable and like I've tried actually the therapist I had before that was a black lady, like from the islands. I'm from Haiti. She's I think from Jamaica or something. So like we had that bond, but when I went to my new therapist, like I don't know if it was just because like the house was on fire and it was just like I have to get this out. But I just felt comfortable, but it was slow, right? So I would just give little by little, but then like I would go back and she would kind of like we would have to rehash everything, and then it was just I don't know, like she just wanted to understand. But and even to this day, like I'll say something that's culturally different, and she's like, "That's different. Like I've never heard that before." And I also feel like I'm helping out the next individual who looks like
That's
me,
interesting.
who's going to who's gonna go to her. She's gonna be like she's gonna be able to like connect the dots. Like okay, I remember Valen said such and such to happen. So, like, she might be able to ask them a question to have them open up. So, I don't know. It all happens for a reason. Like, I always believe that. So, yeah.
That is interesting because she will know how to better handle the situation.
Yeah.
That's cool.
She's like getting on the job training.
Yeah, for sure.
You guys had me on this podcast. Little do you know, I'm collecting all this information because this is good information for me. Because it's, I have these assumptions built up when you were trying to match members to providers. It's like, all right, if I know that I'm a Spanish speaker, it's probably better for me to speak with someone who's a Spanish speaker. But I kind of under or downplay if you're in a state of crisis and you need to speak with someone. I don't know that you care.
Yeah, it does matter.
Or let me rephrase it. I don't know that it matters.
Yeah. Like, just
one of the things that my wife is studying mental health counseling, and she's in her master's program. One of the things that she wants to specifically work with teenage girls, and